Hi, I want to pose the question, what are reasons? What are reasons that individuals engage in suicide? So suicide is when one stops one's own body from being able to function, resulting in what we call death. I think suicide's unfortunate. Yeah, let me preface this. I think suicide's an unfortunate thing. I hope that we can help all individuals not have reasons to want to engage in suicide so that we can have 0 suicides. That would be great, because suicide ends lives on earth. There are many different spiritual and theological beliefs about what might happen to someone after that, but again, this is not going to be about the theological and spiritual aspects of that. It's simply asking, what I'm wanting to do is simply to ask the question and try to answer based on my own knowledge and understanding. What are reasons that individuals engage in suicide? And I guess generally speaking, I'll use the example of moving. So if someone lives in Florida and they want to leave Florida and they want to go somewhere else, let's just for the sake of this say California, what are the reasons someone wants to leave Florida and go to California? Now, so I'm asking, the question I'm posing is, why would somebody want to leave Earth and go to somewhere else, or, into the ground, somewhere else besides Earth? Why would somebody want to remove their consciousness from Earth and go somewhere else? So I guess I'm sort of answering the question by posing that other question. There could be there could be an infinite number of different reasons that someone would want to leave Florida and move to California. So, with that comparison in mind, I would posit that there's potentially an infinite number of reasons why somebody might want to engage in suicide. But again, those reasons could have themes. So for example, with suicide, well, generally, just like with moving from Florida to California, you could say, well, they wanted to move. So again, with suicide, well, they wanted to die. But again, why would somebody want to move, or why would somebody want to die? But again, with suicide, quite often, as far as what I've seen or heard, anecdotally, I can't pronounce it right now, or, through the readings I've done in general, or talking with people, often with suicide is because they feel emotional pain, and that may be due to, a breakup, abuse, financial problems, familial problems, problems with family relationship problems, career problems. Any sort of problem is, generally when somebody is thinking about engaging in suicide, it seems they often have difficult things going on in life. And then again, they see suicide as a potential solution to the problems in living that create distress. And I think if one is to say that individuals engage in suicide for no reason, it's just a product of a mental disorder or a brain disorder, can be somewhat dehumanizing. If it is a product of a brain disorder, well, where's the physical medical test, the objective biological, pathophysiological, histopathological or pathophysiological physical medical test to show that someone has a brain disorder that compels them to want to engage in suicide? There is none. That's a fact. As far as I know, if there is, please inform me, because, well, then it stops being a mental disorder, it starts being a brain disorder, and that could be potentially cured using medical means, potentially, physical medical means. But there's none that I know of as far as any objective medical, physical, histopathological or pathophysiological test that can be done to ascertain that someone has some brain disorder compelling them to want to engage in suicide. So therefore, I think it's safe to say people generally have reasons. And again, so let me get to another point here. If we want to stop all suicides from occurring, I think we need to help individuals not have reasons for wanting to engage in suicide. And therefore society needs to be set up differently to make access to help in solving problems much more accessible. I think that's key. Or help in finding ways to create a meaningful life that's worth living much more accessible, whether that's through counseling or some sort of resource, resources of some sort. I think ultimately, currently, not infrequently are coercion and force used to try and stop individuals from engaging in suicide. People who've tried to engage in suicide and failed, and individuals who voice that they have a plans, mean, and intention of engaging in suicide can currently be effectively locked up in a hospital ward. And I don't think that's right. I think it's likely counterproductive, and ultimately, if we want to have the number of suicides that occur on Earth be zero, we need to use means that are not coercive or forceful, that are instead persuasive and kind and gentle and caring, rather than using coercion and force. I don't think that's ever going to work, and I think it's likely going to, make the problem worse, or else at least make it so it's not going to get better. So again, what are the reasons that individuals engage in suicide? The reasons are as unique as the individuals who engage in suicide. And again, I want to reiterate that I'm not condoning suicide, I'm not promoting suicide. I think that it would be great if there were no suicides on Earth, but I think that we need to realize that individuals who engage in suicide have reasons for doing so, and accessible help with being able to get rid of those reasons is what is needed. And again, I think by accessible does not include anything that would include coercion and force. So I think it needs to be voluntary. So maybe I'll just end it there. I think that question, again, just to reiterate one more time, the question of, what are the reasons that individuals engage in suicide is worth exploring. And again, the reasons are as varied as there are individuals. Just like, why would somebody move to Florida to California? Well, it might be because, they have family there, or it's, less alligators or less snakes or a better job, or they want to grow, something you can only grow in California, or, whatever. There could be an infinite number of reasons potentially, but again, there's maybe likely categories of reasons. The same thing applies for suicide, and ultimately, we need to help people feel like they can create a life worth living on Earth. If we want to help them, voluntarily live on Earth. But again, the question of what happens after we die is a theological and spiritual one. And if somebody believes that things are going to be better off after death, I don't think using coercion and force is the right way to change their mind. So that's all. I think I'll end it there. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, watch my other videos, visit my websites, and have a wonderful morning, evening, or afternoon, or night, wherever and whenever you may be. Thanks for watching.